Because I think some will argue that even in Europe and in some other climes, they still have the traditional institution.
But then they are not republics. Britain is not a republic. Japan is not a republic. France is a republic. China is a republic. United States is a republic. As soon as you call your country a republic, you won't have those institutions again. Or can you name a country that runs a republic alongside the monarchy and the Emirates for me?
So you think that is the problem with the country? Or
it's one of the problems. I'm not saying it is only the problem. It's one of the problems. And if we, as you read my piece, I also mentioned the issue of citizenship. Because it is only in countries like Nigeria that a Nigerian can live in a particular part of Nigeria for God knows and still called the indigene of another state. In the United States, where I lived for 12 years, I was asked to take the citizenship of the United States, which I refused anyway for personal reasons. But there's no way I should be living in Abuja since 2005, and I cannot go and become senator, and I cannot say I'm a citizen of Abuja. I will always be referred as a man from Anambra State. Let's remove all these things and create a modern Nigeria so that a Nigerian living in Kano could, after 5 years, claim the citizenship with the right to vote and to be voted, and with the right to job as any other citizen we have. And also, I want us to go to the extent of people changing their names. I can change my name to Musa Muhammad, but I will be allowed to do that only once, and it will be published extensively in the newspaper, so that we intermingle, so that we reduce the tensions created by names and our mode of dressing and all these things, so that a modern Nigeria will emerge out of all these problems.
Mr. Megba, I mean, let me get some points clear, because I seem to have been lost in the train of thought. First of all, I'm not sure we have to have a national conference for you to change your name to Musa, as you say. Nothing stops you from doing that. And secondly, if you wanted to contest for the position of the Senate...
No, I'm saying let that be a law that allows that to happen. Let that be a law that will allow you to do that.
You don't have to have a law to change your name to Musa, if I check properly. But if you have to go for Senate in Abuja, as you suggested, do we have to have a national conference, or isn't that a constitutional amendment matter?
You see, Mr. Chamberlain, I am trying to add flesh to the bone. What I'm trying to say is, during this discussion, let's discuss everything. I'm not saying that these are the fundamental problems, but in my article, what I said that, in addition, let's look at all these things in order to create a modern society. For example, also, I said there's a need to nationalize our oil industry. There's a need to stop awarding foreign taxpayers' money, contracts paid with taxpayers' money to foreign companies, so that we actually make sure that our local companies can be helped to grow and become competitive. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm not trying to say that when we go, this will be the critical fundamental issues. I'm saying during the discussion, why not we bring all this along and discuss them extensively, and so that the Nigerians will say, look, in the Constitution, it is there.
Well, that takes us to part of the basic questions which we always try to ask on this program, and that is that, I mean, you talk about trying to add flesh, and people will say, well, you have to add the right kind of flesh so that it doesn't die during the graft process. All of these matters that you talked about, which relates to proper industrialization of fiscal federalism, if we had leaders in those positions who are doing the right things, would we have a need for this conference in the first place?
Chamberlain, you are very much right. Had it been that we have nationalists who are selfless, then I will tell you that what is causing confusion, what causes confusion anywhere in the world, is as a result of people feeling that are disenfranchised, people feeling that are excluded in the system, or the minorities are not given their fair place in the politics and in the economy. We need to make it clear. One of the things I suggested in my article is that let nationalists who want to rule this country come up to a comprehensive program. And let it not be that this person is from north or south, but that person, let Nigerians examine that person with his team and say, given your antecedent, we are going to elect you. But unless we have people who actually are selfless, who actually are thinking beyond ethnic lines or religious lines, it will be difficult, given the type of fiscal federalism we run, for people to actually, fiscal system we run, for people to actually believe that a northern president will treat a southern state the same way he treats a northern state, or will treat a southern indigene the same way he treats a southern indigene. Take, for example, when you go to every ministry, the minister appoints people from his state. When you go to the federal government, you see that the president actually appoints his close advisors mostly from his state. So that sends the signal to Nigerians that unless somebody comes from your state as president, as whatever, you will not trust that person. So it is not easy, Chamberlain, but we have to try. There's nothing wrong with emphasizing it in our constitution, that these are the conditions for somebody to become a president of Nigeria. And of course, I went to the extent of saying, but you might disagree with me, that in future, let a Nigerian president be somebody who must have, if he's from the south, he must have married from the north. If he's from the north, he must have married from the south. Because in the United States of America, if you are not born in the United States, physically born in the United States, you will never be president of the United States, no matter what. So we must create conditions for people to become our national leaders.
You know, in all of this is still, well, it's your point after all, because that's why it's a dialogue, it's a conference. Everyone, all sides must be heard and listened to. But again, going through that, you raise quite a novel one here coming from you, saying that from 2015, Nigeria should be thinking of having one president and is it 5 or 6 vice presidents?
Yes, I suggested that starting from 2015, let there be the possibility of 1 president and 5 vice presidents. Each zone producing a vice president, excluding the zone that produced the president. And I want us to make sure that the first vice president will be in charge of our finance, and the second might be in charge of foreign affairs and so on and so forth. So that the ministries will be handled by these vice presidents, and they will be responsible, so that it shows inclusiveness, and also it shows that he who wears the shoe knows where he pitches in. It shows that the politician who is elected as a vice president will be capable and must be responsible in managing our economy, if it's the Minister of Finance. And the vice president responsible for foreign affairs will be in a better position to manage our foreign affairs, and also internal affairs and the defense and the petroleum ministry. So, you know, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, we have to experiment all these things to see where and how we can resolve Nigerian problems.